Need to probably settle that shit.
Ready, Mrs. Ryan?
If I do one thing today, that's
Yes.
All right. Jennifer Nicole, not married. Roll it, Hal. You're not blocking it at all. You're totally fine. Thank you so much. Well, now you're blocking it. No, I'm just you're totally fine. Jennifer Nicole taking pictures for Porsche, social media and stuff. So fun.
I love it.
Hi there, Mrs. Ryan.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's see. Bring it in here. Bring it in here, Mrs. Ryan. It's the Thursday show. Yay! Yay! Remember Kermit the Frog? Kermit the Frog from the Muppet Show. It's Jennifer Nicole. Yay! All right, well, we're already having fun here in the Late Night Play Set. Welcome back, everybody. Today is Thursday, August 1st, Mrs. Ryan, 2019. And our guest, if you couldn't tell already, is Jennifer Jen Nicole from the Porsche PEC Experience Center here in Los Angeles. We're very excited to get her in here. We've been talking already for quite a while, and we're already having fun. So now you get to watch some of it. Mrs. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. I feel...
Looking lovely.
I look great.
Hunzikered out, McQueen Racing and 111 shoes. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to represent. We got the cool people in the house. I wanted to be cool. But I feel horrible. But, I don't like to talk about that stuff. So.
But I will.
You asked. I'm just answering
I see.
as succinctly
Feel
as
horrible,
possible.
but that's it. That's all we're going to say.
Yeah.
Copy that. All right. Well, in that case, let's get on with the show then. I've got, you know what? The only thing from the hellos was I wanted to mention yesterday's guest, Mark Lano. I feel a little bit unprepared. I feel like that was one where I should have done more research because I was blown away sitting here and everything that was coming out of his mouth was bigger and more interesting to my personal history of all this stuff and comedy and LA lore and everything. Yeah. We said yesterday we're going to have him back. We are absolutely going to have him back. I made a joke on the social about this is part one of a 9-part series. We won't run out of material with him, but please, for everyone else too, because people have been making comments, can we make it a priority to get him back?
Yeah,
He was just incredible.
I already talked to our comedy booker.
Fantastic.
Cannot wait to see him again.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, and we always say this, but we really just scratched the surface with him.
Definitely.
Finding out the story about how Jay Leno accidentally ended the strike against the Comedy Store with David Letterman and Mark and Tom Dreesen and Mitzi Shore. I mean, it was just crazy, these stories.
The legends of Hollywood comedy.
Yeah, crazy.
Just unbelievable.
All right. Well, with that, Mrs. Ryan, I want to check in with the East Coast feed.
Awesome.
But specifically, I'm going to play a video real quick just to start that we did yesterday. It's only a couple seconds long, but I want to talk about it after. So I'm going to play this one again. Roll it out.
So we're sitting here live in a car with the geniuses because we have an issue with one of our 5 Series loaner cars. Can you show them what it is? Can we show them can we pull it up here? It looks like we have right here, that one. It's porn. Yeah, porn. There's porn on our dashboard. We don't know how it happened, but apparently someone hacked into the car. God, I love this. It's so much fun. Car business, everybody. Gotta love it. I know it's not Porsche, but we have some fun at BMW too.
All right. So, all right, you remember that one from yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember what I said?
No.
I said, this speaks to me the future. This is cars are hackable because cars are computers and computers are hackable, so now cars are hackable. That's the equation I came up with. And I was like, this is just going to start happening. Okay, well, on the news this morning,
Nope.
right here in Los Angeles,
No.
how hackers can take over your car. If I'm not mistaken, that's even a BMW dealership in the background there, blurred out.
Oh, my.
Check that out, car hacking. Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So glad to be having an old car right now. I don't know how they're gonna get around this. It's going to be a constant chase, just like you hack the new iPhone, then they do a thing where you can't hack it, then you hack it again. It's just going to be chasing that.
This is bananas.
Old cars, right? G.I. Jane?
That is the way to go. Classic cars.
Do you ever have any of that? Well, you don't have loaner cars, but have you ever had anybody hack any of your Porsche vehicles?
No.
And put porn on the display? Did you hear that? It was a service loaner at BMW.
That's the BMW.
Oh, shot across the bow. Holy smokes. All right. Well, checking in then in the non-car business side of the East Coast feed, Mrs. Ryan, let's see where they are now.
So Brooke's checking her hair.
I didn't even get to finish.
Anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, Brooke, the Cavs fan. And we're here tonight at the beer garden at Two Steps. Let's show you. Boom. We're enjoying a little outdoor music as well as some food. It's the beginning of our Friday evening. How's it going, babe? Good? It's going great. At least her hair looks good. That's really what's important for the camera. You see how much she loves me? Now she loves me more. There it is. Love you guys. See you later.
We're all laughing in here. Last one. Let's see where they are now. East Coast feed. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, East Coast Feed Part 2 on a Friday night. We are at the Charter Oak Brewery in Danbury. It's a small brewery, as you can see. We're going to walk over here because Brooke's right here. There she is. She's very excited. Where are you hiding? Where are you going? Anyway, it's a work function for her, but it's a little brewery action. We got a little beer, a little wheat beer. She's not a big beer fan. She's allergic to alcohol, if you don't know that already. What else, babe? She turns bright red like my shirt. You see my scorpion? Mortal Kombat? Huh? I know. And that's it. We're here. It's a Friday night. We're enjoying our evening. Brooke's got a little beer action. I had some gin. Life is good. Miss you guys. We'll see you later.
Yes, indeedy.
Oh, my.
Brooke and the Cavs, man. Gotta love them.
Yeah. That's incredible.
I know. They had such a good time. Mrs. Ryan, I only have one other thing, and then it's going to be time for the news, if that's all right.
Yeah.
It is Thursday, and you know what we do every Thursday? We'd open up the old TBT. See where we are today, Mrs. Ryan. I think, let me come back to the studio. I think, if I recall, this is going to be, we were just talking about our good friend Rod Emory. I think this is a Rod Emory, apparel launch, definitely down at Period Correct. I think that's what we're going for. So this is Period Correct. Roll it, Hal. Well, we're headed to Rod Emory's. Actually, that's not true. We're not going to Rod Emory's. Where are we going? Period Correct for Rod Emory's Outlaw opening, or it's a release of a new. We're going to go to Period Correct.
Can't wait.
See you there. There she is.
Really?
We made it. 2 hours later. Correct. A little wobbly?
A little bit.
A lot of people.
It's looked better than that.
That was nice. We just met a guy named Brian. It was pretty awesome. 400 East Court.
He's part from the East.
Yep. Very nice guy. Thanks for spending time, Brian, and for watching the show. It's pretty cool. The turnout here, pretty good. Just lightened up a little bit. We were able to start taking some video because we got a nice quiet area. But heck of a turnout. Nice job, Rod. Nice job, Period Correct. We're having a great time. Thanks for having us. Hi, Mrs. Ryan. We had a great time with Rod Emery. Thanks, Rod. Thanks
Good
for
to
having
see you.
us.
Nice
so
to
good
meet
to see
everybody.
you. And Amy. Okay. See you later. Yeah, that's how about you? There's Porsche up downtown, right? Right there. But that nonsense is coming from Kia. Oh, Jose. Oh, that's a good one, Mrs. Ryan. What do you
That
think?
is a good one. I
lot of
remember
memories.
that day. So much fun.
A lot of memories. A couple things I didn't remember was Sam from Seen Through Glass.
Right.
He was there. Huge YouTube channel, Seen Through Glass. And then at the end there was Jose, who's now the president of the, I always get these wrong, the PCA SGVR, San Gabriel Valley region of the Porsche Club of America.
Hi, Jose.
Hi, Jose. We love Jose.
Hi,
And I
Rod.
was sitting on his lap at the end.
Totally. I love all you guys. Rod, it was so good to see you.
Thank you again for the invite. Mrs. Ryan, it's time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, Mrs. Ryan? Dun, 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 dun.
You know who Wesley Snipes is, don't you?
Yeah, he's passenger 57. Hello.
Okay, well, he's going to be in a new movie. A new whatever, carbon neutral. Their goal.
That's all right.
Start over.
That's all right.
Dream-
Wesley Snipes is in the news.
Wesley Snipes is in with a company called Dreamlight Productions. Is going to make the first carbon neutral film.
Oh, interesting. Green filmmaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's their new thing, and Wesley's totally on board. The movie's called Payline, I believe, and they're really innovative in reusing and repurposing materials because their whole thing is like sets that are used once and blown up are the big problem. So they're making a casino movie that's going to be carbon neutral.
I think that's neat. I look
Yeah.
forward to it.
Go
I
check
figured it was
out.
going to be gambling when you said the name of it.
You put things together faster than me sometimes. I did not know. Thailand is going to be introducing cannabis oil to the medical community.
Oh, they don't have that? I would have thought that that's where they would have had that. I didn't know that.
It was
They're
outlawed.
into all the oils and all the different essentials. And
Thailand as a culture is into herbal uses of things,
yeah,
but it
sort
was
of the definition of Eastern medicine, right?
yes, but it was made illegal years ago, cannabis, and this year
Works too good.
the civil government. There's tons of government stuff that like I don't want to get into and I don't know enough about, but this year the civil government is taking over and making it so they can grow marijuana there for medical purposes.
That's crazy.
And they're going to distribute 10,000 jars this year. They're
That's how I
jars
saw
of
the jar.
cannabis oil to like
Oh, right,
give
I
to
see.
hospitals and
Oil.
stuff to use. So I love it because it's just showing another way to like, okay, you can make money, do your thing, but like help people in the best way
Yeah.
while you're doing it. So
Yeah.
Thailand's exploring that avenue, which
Bravo,
I think
Thailand.
is super neat. Okay, that game. Remember when I was really messy and like we used video games to help my brain grow?
Yes.
That game, what's it called? Alan Wake or whatever?
That is one of my all-time favorite video games, and I don't think you ever played it, but yes, Alan... Well, that's not it. Hang on, sorry. Here, where are you? There you are. Alan Wake, it's about a writer who goes to a seaside town, and it's a fantastic story. It's basically a Stephen King-type story that you get to play this guy in a video game. I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm not really into those role-playing type video games, but the story on this one was so interesting to me, and it was like, if it was a movie, I would have gone and seen it.
Yeah, well,
So I liked it.
That's what...
It's almost like Twin Peaks.
Okay, perfect segue, because there's this game that is similar and kind of was like the precursor to Alan Wake and all these games, these open world games that we love.
Okay.
And really started based on David Lynch's Twin Peaks.
Get out of here. You're kidding.
Totally. No, that's where
Well, then it hit the mark for me for sure, because that's
Totally.
exactly what it reminded me of. Even the set design and the lighting design and all of the music cues, everything is very, very odd and creepy and incredibly well done. That game's not new either. That game's at least 10 years old, probably, right?
Yes, but this one that I'm talking about, Smyrna Falls, that's the precursor to all of it, of like the open world games of like like Grand Theft Auto, like
Sure.
where you can just drive places,
Right.
was released only in Japan in '98 on PlayStation, and recently, there's this woman named Evie, resident Evie. You can Google it. I don't know. It's a handle. She translated all of it from Japanese to English, and so now for the first time since '98, this game's available again.
Oh, no kidding!
And you can
but
play
it's the old
English
game. It's not
version.
redone. It's just the old game
With English.
Sure, transcribed or transcoded or whatever.
Yeah, and if it's anything like Alan Wake, which it sounds like it's the precursor of, so it's not as good necessarily graphics wise, but it was really ahead of its time in terms of like how to do stuff. I'm super excited. So Smyrna Falls is
So
the
you're going
name
to be
of it.
playing that?
No, I'll wait for someone to show
We
it to
still
me.
have Alan Wake. It's all, the games are digital these days, so even though you don't have the disc, it's all in the machine. So, I mean, you can play Alan Wake anytime you ever want
I like
to.
watching you play it because it's like watching Twin Peaks.
With zombies.
Totally. And then lastly, there's been a lot of studies recently about what people don't like and why they don't talk to strangers. Like they're so much more inclined to like be on their phone or have a cigarette or do whatever.
It's tough. When we were kids, we were taught, don't talk to strangers, but it was a different time then. It was a different world. Strangers were trying to talk to you back then.
Well, yeah. And now people are actively like looking down and not making eye contact, and they're apt to get on their phone. And so there was a
Back
lot
to
of
the zombies. I consider this the zombie apocalypse.
Totally. I do also. And so a lot of studies were like, well, why are people not wanting to talk to people? Like,
Yes.
we're social creatures. Like, why wouldn't you? And blah, blah, blah. The studies show that the reason that people don't do it sometimes is out of fear. And so it sounds obvious, but in the moment when you're so easily able to be distracted by other things, you don't think about that.
People don't really. This is all on your terms. This is set up with your stuff. It's you. It's an extension of you.
Right.
So it's very easy to just stay in your little world. It's very easy. And anything outside of it, once you're used to being into it, is a little bit frightening. You're like, whoa, I got to look up, and oh, it's a big world out there. You know what I mean? We talk about the Matrix in the movie, and they're all plugged in, and it was, the physicality of it was different. But if you just look at the underlying idea of it, this is it.
Totally.
WALL-E too, same thing.
Totally. And so these studies it basically just said, like, don't be afraid. Like, talk to people. It's going to be awkward and weird, but it might be awesome.
I
so,
posted
like,
this too. Talk to strangers.
Who cares?
Say
Just
hello.
talk to strangers and enjoy
Smiling
your
and
life.
saying hello to a stranger is the craziest thing. If you're in the grocery store, if you're sitting in traffic next to somebody, even sometimes when you get to the bottom of the freeway ramp and there's someone collecting for money, make it sound like it's a church thing or whatever. But someone asking for money at the bottom of a freeway with a sign. I don't know what you call that these days. I don't know what's politically correct, but one of those people. Even if we don't have money, I always say I love you, brother. God bless you, brother. You know what I mean? One of those things, and it's like what we get back is always better than thank you for the dollar. It's
Yeah.
always like, right on, brother. You too. Like, I love you too, brother. You know what I mean? It's always something.
Energy is currency. So if you're giving positive energy to someone, that's like giving currency to them, whatever they need.
Good enough. I love that. Oh, shit. And that's been. And that's been What's Going On, Mrs. Ryan. Bravo. Well done.
Thanks.
Are we done? Do we have anything else?
That's it for me.
One more thing.
Oh, shoot. Oh, that's important.
That's right. It's time for Dave Watch. All right. Where are we, Mrs. Ryan?
August 1st.
August. Oh, shit. Well, but it's still here.
Yeah, it's there.
All right. Well, back here on the 23rd, we reached out. We had someone from our team reach out to David Letterman's team to try to get him as a guest on this show. That was the first contact. All these X's since they denote days where we have not had Dave here.
Empty.
Today
No
is the
answer.
first. We'll just put this right here. And that shows that we've checked in and we know.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
I know.
It's going to happen.
Those
And it's-
X's look daunting, but it really has been no time, and it's totally going to happen.
This is more of a fun way to monitor how it's going to happen and to keep everybody else in on the goings on, because it's going to happen without this silly calendar. The reason we're doing the calendar is because this is something Dave and his writers did back in the 80s to get Donahue on, and then in the 90s or the
Oprah.
2000s to get Oprah on. So we're just pulling up, you know how it is. You play out of somebody else's playbook to try to get them. So that's it. No news, but David Letterman, please be a guest on our program. If there's anything anybody else can do to make that happen, by all means, please either do it or reach out to us. And in that case, Mrs. Ryan, I have nothing else. It's time to now take a break and get our guest, G.I. Jennifer Nicole, in here from the PECLA. That's Porsche's Experience Center. going to talk about all sorts of things, and not just Porsche. Probably we got all sorts of things to talk about with you,
I have
right?
such a girl crush on this one.
Girl crush on this one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll say it when you get in here. Nicholas Hunziker had a funny thing too. All right, more to come right after this. G.I. Jane will be sitting in that chair. See you in a few.
And then we don't have a problem.
Okay.
And there we go. We are back sitting here with G.I. Jane, Jennifer Nicole from the PECLA. Hi, Jen. Can I call you just Jen? Is that all right?
Just Jen is great. Yeah.
Just Jen. Just Joan Wilder. That's not your, but your last name isn't Nicole. Is that your middle name? How does your name work? Could you tell us how your name works,
How
please?
does my name work? Yeah.
Let's start there.
Let's start there at the beginning. I get this a lot, which is super fun.
Because you have two first names, right?
I do, and it's so easy to remember the girl with two first names, Jennifer Nicole, right? It kind of sounds like a sheet line, like a bedding sheet line. I get that a lot too.
Oh, what do you think? Laura Ashley? Like that kind of
Yes,
thing?
exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So my last name is actually not Malakarn. It's a long story, but to make it short.
But that is what I wasn't saying a second ago. Malakarn, right?
Malakarn, yeah.
Malakarn.
And it's
I
not
literally,
Italian.
I texted her. I was like, the M word. I don't
But
understand.
so Jennifer Nicole Malakarn.
Is my full name.
But
But my grandfather he was in the military, and his mom remarried while he was in the military. And when he came back from the military, she said, guess what? I got married and I gave you a name change, because back then he went in the military at like 17 years old. So he literally had his name already changed and he didn't even know about it.
oh my God.
She actually changed his everything, like his first name too. She liked his middle name better. I don't know. Things are crazy.
Holy cow.
So then what happened is my dad never liked his grandmother. So he never, not only was the name changed, but the spelling, she didn't like the spelling. She changed the spelling of the name. Like she added
This
the
is a
E.
disaster.
And yeah, so like my dad has always told my brother and I, like, hey, while your grandparents are here, you can keep the name. Or like he even told my brother, because I have a brother who's 2 years older, he's like, if you want to take your wife's name if she's the only child and her parents really want to keep that name. But technically speaking, my last name is Mills, and I didn't even know that until I was probably like 16 years old.
So it's Jennifer Nicole Mills.
Technically, yeah.
But you've never used that.
No, I didn't even know. So then
Well, what's your birth certificate say?
it
You know what I
says
mean? Like
Malakarn, but it's not even a real name.
that is
so,
a
like, my dad
riot.
is
So
always-
somebody just made it up at one point and it stuck.
And it stuck. And like my grandfather, because back then, I mean, he's been through 2 world wars. Like, he's old school. He's 93 years old. You just did what your parents told you back then.
Yeah.
So he literally, we don't even know the spelling. I gave my parents for like 2 Christmases ago, I said, hey, like, those like tests that you can have, like your
the DNA.
I was
Yeah.
like, can you tell me what we are? And that's why I gave them for Christmas, because we thought it was Italian. We have no Italian in us.
Are you
Malakarn
kidding?
sounds fancy. I used to tell people for years. Even my mom told me growing up we were
Like
Italian.
mascarpone or something. So it does sound fancy.
Yeah, so it was really funny. So out of high school, I just knew that like Malakarn wasn't really my name anyways. And I took a job, and they wanted me to have something
Oh,
that
I
was
see.
really
So
easy
you
to
just
recognize.
leaned away from it. Oh, wow. I'm
I
sorry.
totally
I'm picking
did,
up
yeah.
here. Okay.
So I got a job working with Victoria's Secret. We were launching the pink line because the pink campaign came out in 2004. It was unsuccessful. They hired me on in 2006 to kind of revamp and consult.
What happened?
It was successful, but it wasn't successful as like the very sexy line
It
or some of
didn't-
the other stuff. It
Didn't
catch
scream
on.
for what they seem to want.
Yeah, well, because back in
young.
2004, a lot of times moms would take their young daughters, their teenage daughters, to the store, and right when you'd walk into Victoria's Secret, it would be very risque.
It's in your
It would
face.
be in your face.
Sure.
And moms
They
were
were
like,
competing
"Hey,
with
that's
Fredericks
stuff
in
that
the
me and
80s.
Dad want to see, not
Yeah.
what we want our young daughter to see." So we had to really rethink everything. So I came on as a consultant, and of course, nobody knew my name, and they're like, "Jennifer, what? Malakarn?"
Is this when they changed the whole, like, what the stores look like?
Yeah,
I would
Because
imagine.
they used to be almost like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were sort of, I don't want
Right?
to say peep show windows, but it was very, exactly what you
It was
described.
very
Much more
sexy.
lacy
Because
and
that's the thing,
risque
it's
in the time.
Victoria's Secret Angels, it's the icon, right?
I
So
was
it's
going to
like-
use that. I didn't think anybody would remember that. The angels in the
Yeah.
90s, the clear, transparent. You remember
Yeah.
all that?
So in
Yeah.
2004,
But hang on, I just want to talk about the angels bras for a second because I
Right?
thought that was bullshit. However they looked in the ads and everything was nice, fine. That's not how they looked in real life. They were clear. They were transparent. So everything that you didn't
Yeah.
see on the thing, if you bought one of those and got it home, you
Go on. Please
go ahead.
on.
Go ahead. Never mind. I realized I
No,
dug too
Nicole,
far.
and I really want to know.
You could see everything. You could see
Yeah.
everything through those angels bras.
They weren't lined.
No.
I went shopping with my high school girlfriend, like helping her, like
Oh,
we were
wow.
doing a thing, and she came out like, well, what do you? And she's like, can you see? I'm like, I can see everything.
Oh yeah. No. So it used to be that you go into the store and then the pink
Back to
line
you. Yeah, all right.
would be in the
In the back, yeah. You had to
Because-
walk through all the sexy stuff to get to the cute,
But then as a
adorable
young girl,
stuff.
you're like, well, wait, that's pretty. And then you get to the back and you're like, oh, here's the cotton bras.
Right.
So you
gotta get through the cigarettes to buy the bubble
like,
gum.
hey, we're going to go to Macy's. We're going to go to Nordstrom. We're going to go elsewhere. And then, we kind of had to restructure how that was. And then I became kind of like the unofficial pink girl. So I did all their online social marketing. It was back when Facebook, you had to have a
was all
college
new.
ID. You couldn't just be anyone that had Gmail,
Right.
account. So they had me sign up, and then they were like, hey, you know what? We got to talk to you. Like, your name? No one's going to remember your name. I was like, well, that's cool, because I usually just go by Jen. They're like, yeah, but you need a name. So that's actually how it
So was it
became
just Jen Mill?
Jennifer Nicole.
Oh no, you weren't even using.
I wasn't.
Mills.
I didn't
Oh, my
even know about
God.
that until like.
So you were just
later.
using Jen Melicarn, and they were not. They were like, no, that's not catchy.
Well, my friend who was a consultant who brought me on because I thought I was going to be a fashion designer. I was always cars fashion design.
Starting by
design.
rearranging Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, right. Because that makes total sense for me in my books. If people that know me would be like, yes, that's totally where
I
you're
see it.
going.
I got it.
And
Foot in the
so-
door.
Totally opens the door, and to consult for Victoria's Secret when I'm like 20.
That's unheard of.
23
That's
years old.
unbelievable.
It's a big
Right?
resume.
Huge,
Check
right?
mark.
And yeah, exactly. And so they're just like, well, what can you do? Like from a marketing perspective, my friend just said, you should just go by Jennifer Nicole. Everyone knows you as Jennifer Nicole. We'll just do that. So then that became my Facebook name. Then that
So at
became
20
my company name. That became my consultant name. So until Porsche, literally
Wow.
everyone knew me, and they thought that was my last name, and I was totally
That's what we
fine with
thought
that.
until we got the paperwork on you.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Until Porsche hired me, they're like, what's your legal document? My dad actually told me, he had to sit down and he goes, hey, if you want to change your name,
Yeah.
we are okay with it. And I said, yeah, but it's this long.
This goes
and
deep.
Yeah. My dad really didn't like his grandmother so much. So
Wow.
yeah, he's like, and he didn't know her, and the fact that she changed the name, changed the spelling. He's like, you could go by Mills if you want. He's like, we could go down the DMV, and because I was like really heartbroken when I was like, people are gonna think
Wow.
I'm married. Everyone thought I was married. I had to change my LinkedIn account because it's like, now it's Jen Nicole Malicar, and they're like, oh, she got married and she didn't tell us.
Yeah, and it certainly
Aw.
sounds that way.
Yeah, so usually I tell people, just call me Jen. It's so much more simple. Or
Wow.
Jennifer, or Jennifer Nicole. Yeah.
Well, and then G.I. Jen, of course, is because you love toys and action figures, right?
Totally.
And
I
you're
was a
the
huge
greatest
tomboy.
American hero.
Yes. No. Well, yeah, technically, I played with a lot of G.I. Joes. I grew up with 9 guys. I was the only girl on the block, yeah.
Oh,
So-
so you were just tough, and that's how you got the name?
I love G.I. Jane, the movie. I was
Oh, of
like
course.
a
I
huge
skipped over that,
Demi
of
Moore
course.
fan.
You
Yeah,
were?
oh my gosh, yeah. And I know, like now I'm like super
We used to see them in. They used to live in the town I lived in when I was
Did
a
they
kid.
really?
Yeah, when she was
that's
married
so
to Bruce
cool.
Willis, they were at the
Yes.
hardware store in town.
I just thought she was such a cool, powerful, strong female, no bullshit.
Wow.
And I just love the fact
Did you see
that
striptease?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I saw all her movies. She's just cool. So
Oh.
everyone used to call me GI when I was growing. Not all of her movies. Maybe I don't know. If there's one I
Striptease
don't
isn't
know.
good. I've been on to play with her. She's lovely.
That's good. Yeah. So that's how I got GI Jen. People used to call me GI. I used to wear like army fatigues in high school. I
Shut
like went rock
up.
climbing. I was
that's
mining
the
in Mount
tomboy.
Baldy Mountain.
That's the,
Oh, yeah.
the tomboy that you were talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're very, very interesting. Just starting off there, I didn't know any of that. That's so cool. I mean, I've got weird name stuff too, So it's
Yeah.
I love it when
Well,
everybody else
it's
says
like
somebody.
Jay Nicole Ryan, Jennifer Nicole. I totally relate. We're easy to remember, but Jennifer Nicole Malicorn's like, whoa, hold on, wait, what did you just say?
It is, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
more.
It's a
That's all right.
mouthful.
Well, you sort of just
off on the right foot.
You did. You sort of just got us already, though, to how you got to Porsche. But a little bit about you that I don't know, except for what you've told me, is that you started in the aftermarket field of the auto. Is that anything you would
I did.
want to talk about? Because I'm
Yeah.
kind of interested in
Yeah.
that stuff.
I would. I think you're pretty interested in
So-
that stuff, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm. But what did you do? Because I don't know how you get from Victoria's Secret to Porsche and then shoehorn this in the middle.
Yeah. So
It's not like the typical bridge that connects those gaps. You know what I mean? Those two things.
I'm
I
with you.
was always
Very
into
divergent.
cars I bought my car before I could drive it. I bought it at 15 and a half. It was a VTEC Honda Prelude.
Oh,
Started
shit.
dating one of the guys in high school that was
Hang
part
on,
of the car
hang
club.
on. Slow down. Preludes are good. What year Prelude was it?
1994.
Oh, so that's with the digital dash and everything.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love
So I
that
put
car so
Tenzo
much.
exhaust on it. I had all like headers. Like I did the whole thing. Was in a car club.
And you already had the SI. You already had the duded up one.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
but
what I mean.
had
So
to
you
go
were already
further.
doing more stuff. There
Yeah.
were 3 versions of that car.
And this
she
is
got the high
before
one.
Fast and the Furious, by the way. So I
I'm blown
did
away
that.
by you.
Yeah, so I was
But
always like
10 years almost,
into
5
cars. I thought like the cute guys at school, they always had the cool cars. I like loved the Integras back then, the Eclipse.
So
Super
the
cool.
imports, because that's what we could afford, right?
That's what we could
I had a
afford,
Honda
yeah.
Accord hatch at the time, so I
Where
know
did
exactly
you
what mean.
live?
in Claremont.
Oh, here.
California.
Yeah.
Oh, so you grew up in the SoCal car culture.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that. I
Yeah,
didn't
so I
realize
was
that.
born and raised here. So like as soon as I could drive, people were getting, dropped S10s or they were going into the race trucks. They were getting the Civics. They weren't going down that road. And then literally just a few years later was the first, what was it, 1999?
99 is when Fast and the Furious came out, yeah.
Oh, all
and
of
that's
us go to
that's
the
when all of
theater.
the actual import stuff, like the carbon hoods and all
Yeah.
the graphics and all that stuff, that's
Yep.
when that got here, and nitrous and all that stuff.
So I was at the Ontario movies, the Edwards Cinema in Ontario Mills with Craig Lieberman and that car, not knowing Craig, but the guy that put that Eclipse in the movie. And all those cars were out there in the Civics and all that. And I thought, this is it. Like,
You're
I have to
kidding.
be part of this.
You're
Yeah.
shitting me.
No.
I was at CVS when they were building all those cars, and I
That's
thought they
crazy.
were crap because I was like, look at this crap. Just take the hood off it. It'd be
Yeah.
fine. Take the decals. It'd be a great Eclipse or a
Yeah.
great Super or whatever. I couldn't see
Yeah.
the future, and I hadn't seen the movie yet, so I didn't know that, Vin Diesel approved on this one.
Yeah.
I love that we're
You're so right. See, there were so many people there that night that when you talk to them are like, hey, were you at this race?
Yes.
That was in
We
the
have a lot of
racetracks,
those,
or
too.
how were you at this place? And yeah, so a lot of that's just like you later on in life, you go, there's so many things where we were right there.
Yeah.
We could have totally met each other
So
20
close.
years ago almost, but yeah. So that's kind of how that was. So I was always kind of aligned with cars and things like that.
But
And
so when
then-
that movie came out, the import stuff just took off in this
it
town
was
everywhere.
huge. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I was kind of doing fashion, kind of doing a lot of different stuff, worked at an ad agency.
At an
and
ad
then
agency?
I did, yeah.
What were
I
you
did
doing at an
marketing
ad-
and advertising. So
You're
I worked
kidding.
for an agency that did, well,
I mean, I feel like you'd be very good at that. Again, it's just another area I didn't know you'd been.
yeah, so that's,
'Cause
I
that's
see
my
now.
background.
I see the through line to all of it now, but like on paper, no way.
it's just totally creative. Like anything that's creative, anything that I can get my hands on that's creative is something that is really exciting for me. But I was dating a guy at the time that said, you really need to be into car stuff because I didn't want to go to an ad agency and start doing like Bounty paper towels, right? Or Charmin, or like I don't want to be like looking at slogans for Cheerios boxes. That's totally
It wasn't
not me.
solely the advertising
And he goes,
creativity
"Hey,
that you liked.
like it has to be something that's in my wheelhouse." And
Right.
he goes, "You can go to an ad agency or a marketing agency that's just cars." I'm like, where is that? Sign me up. So I found an agency that made sense. They did Formula Drift, Recaro, Brembo, Pirelli, Ducati, Microsoft, and I go, check.
That's the one.
Yeah, 'cause
I
you got
have to be
Xbox, that's
there.
great, yeah.
So I literally worked off a Skid Row at the LA Gun Club in like, if you know where Mr. Cartoon's at. Yeah, I was
got
there.
a
Miss-
tattoo
that's,
there.
she got her tattoo at Mr. Cartoon, but
I
by
worked
Magnus's
there
shop, right?
For like 2.5 years.
What?
Yep. I worked there, and
That was not a good area back then. It's
No.
nice
No.
now because of
Is it?
helpful. Yeah, Magnus and the Bridge.
Magnus
It's gotten a
has
heck
cleaned
of
it
a lot
up. It
better.
was
Seriously,
shady.
it was
I
not
used
good
to
10
go
years ago.
when the sun set. We'll just put it that way. I had a 350Z at the time, and it was lowered, and I had big wheels on it, and it was
Yeah, everybody
I was
left
like,
at 5
I
o'clock.
need to go. I don't look like I belong here. And obviously, I'm a girl, so I used to use the excuse like, "Hey, I'll come here from this time to this time."
And you
then
didn't
I'll
use the
work from home."
Melicarn back then?
or whatever that is, right?
What's
I don't
up?
even know if that's I don't even know what it is. I can't even say it's like Italian because it's not
No.
Italian. Yeah. So yeah. So I took on Recaro. That was like my first client, and I loved that brand. It was funny because you think seats.
No,
How
no.
could you?
I'm excited
love
right now
seats?
because I want seats.
You do.
We're in the place
I
where we
can-
want seats because she wants houndstooth and we want seats. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Recaro, yeah, okay, I get it.
That is the best, yeah. And you can, there's so much you can learn. It's just like when you go to Michelin. Have you ever been to a Michelin day where you can test tires?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
We
the
did it with
different
B- we
rubber
did it with
compounds.
BMW.
Oh, we did. Yeah, okay.
You go something and it's eye-opening. It sounds so trivial, like, oh, tires
No.
are tires, whatever's
No.
on the car, replace. But until
If you're
you
into
go,
it, it's not trivial. It is so
Exactly.
life affirming in the weirdest way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you feel so much safer when you understand
Yeah.
what is behind a tire and the different compounds and things like it's the same thing with the seat.
And then the limits. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
you're taught all that stuff and then you
Side
understand it.
bolsters, things like that are more, yeah. So that was kind of like my baby for a while, and we really got Recaro on the map here a little bit more, just doing more advertising, marketing, all the events like the LA Auto Show that we'd have the Recaro parties. Those were thrown by me and a small team of us. So it was really fun. We did Rimbaud and...
Is that fun to you to do the event stuff too? Because at least that's constant creative turnover, right? Creative
So it basically
turnover.
fell in my lap, and you'll like this, Nicole. So when you're at an agency, and it's all guys, because they're all marketing car stuff, right? So I'm like the token female. And they go, oh, somebody wants to do an event. You're the girl. They're like, she'll plan it. And that's how it became. So I was literally the event planner for so many of the parties and things that we did. I mean, even
And I'm sure you
when
were
they
really
did their
good
car
at it
care
too,
line.
so it probably just perpetual motion
Well,
machine.
I didn't know I was good at it. I go, sure, I'll do it.
You're
You know,
not a
'cause I'm-
dumb girl. That's what
Yeah.
anyone wants, is just to have things done nicely for them. And so
Yeah.
you have a lot of leeway, I found, as a chick, to be like,
Yeah.
I really don't know what I'm doing, but I make things look nice.
Yeah, we
That's
did.
all anyone wants.
It was always crazy. We were always pushing the limits and trying to do things different. And, you know, when you work for an agency, the cool thing about an agency, now that I'm in corporate, when you're at the agency level, you can do things that sometimes the corporate level can't.
Well,
so
you
they
can-
hire you to come in and fix things, right? So Recaro at Pikes Peak, there was a car that had a pretty significant accident. It rolled like 14 times, and the guys were able to walk away. And it was in a Subaru, and they both had Recaro seats. I picked up the phone. I go, where are these guys at?
Yeah,
They're
we
in
need it.
Texas. We had their car busted. I was driving, I had to borrow my parents' Ford Expedition, go trailer
go
the
grab it?
car, pull it. It came from Texas, but I had to go find it off site, and the whole thing
Drag
just
it onto a
mashed up.
flatbed and bring the whole, yeah.
Yeah, everything, like gravels, all the stuff that was literally from Pikes Peak, and we put it smack dab at the J Lounge in downtown LA, and we just closed this place down. And I was like, this is what Recaro needs, because, you know, you can do the fancy cars, you can do everything that looks really pretty and pristine and all the SEMA stuff.
But here's
when
the
you see
result.
a car that, like,
Here's a
that
result.
car rolled 14 times down Devil's Backbone, like, that's the
I know
Devil's
the clip you're
Playground.
talking about,
Yeah, and I was like, that's what we should be doing, and that's kind of how it got. And then I'm like, this is really fun. These events are really cool, but if you look outside the box and you don't do what everyone's thinking that you're going to do all the time, it makes it really fun.
Yeah, I love that. If you can.
Yeah, exactly.
How is it in corporate though? Because you've got so many boxes to check, and there's so many people.
Well, they were so worried, you know, putting a car like that just right in the middle. And I said, well, we'll stanchion it off, because there's obviously metal that
jagged
is
edges and
jagged.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do it, and then people will learn from it, and then it's educational, and we
Yeah.
can talk about it, and that it went over super well.
Plus,
So-
it's art at that point. When you
It
take
was,
that
yeah.
and put it into a different place, you have that contrast we talked about before, and you
Exactly.
just made art.
Exactly.
So it's pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you trashed and displayed?
Oh, let's see. I'm just kidding.
How's your 356? Has it been a year yet that you've had that car?
It'll
It's
be
right
here
about,
in September.
right? Yeah. How you doing with it?
I love that car.
Everybody loves that car.
I'm so thankful for Rod for getting me that car. So I went up to Texas last year. I'm friends with Richard Rawlings from Gas Monkey Garage, and Dennis
You are?
Collins and
From
Big Chris.
Yeah. All right.
So
I can't wait to
flew
talk
out-
to you about that.
Yep, I flew out to see Big Chris. He's like, I got this car for you. Richard bought one. We've got another one on the side. It's a really good car. I love the story about it. It came from Competition Motors, so I'm thinking this is where you want a car to come from, right? It's got
Especially if you
38
live
on
in
the
Los Angeles.
address. Yep. I
Yeah.
was like,
Got good
38 's my lucky
history
number.
innately.
Exactly.
It's your lucky number?
It is 38. I was like, Competition Motors, 38, Los Angeles. I'm bringing the car home. It's got this great story. And so I went up there and I saw the car, and I could show you some pictures. It was rugged. It was super rugged. And I'm walking around the car and I'm calling Rod. I'm like, Rod, you know, like, here's some
I don't
pictures.
know.
I was like, they tell me that I could do it. The floor's clean. Everything's great. And I didn't want to tell too many friends. And I didn't even tell people that I flew out for the weekend to go buy a 356, because, you know, it's like, you
Yeah.
manifest this thing, and I was like, that's my dream car. I have 356s on my dream board for so long, and I thought, I'm probably going to have to get married. I probably need dual income before I get this car, because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
But I found it at a really good price. Well, the problem is it was so good because
Needed it. Yeah.
it needed so much love. And Rod's like, Jen, I don't know. I really don't know about that car. And I'm like, what?
That's
He's like, your
from
heart.
that guy.
I know
what he can do.
Well, my heart was like there, and I was like, it's Smyrna green on the COA, like everything about it. No one has
all the
Smyrna
paperwork
green.
was right about it. Everything else about the deal
yeah.
was right.
I was like, I don't know. And Rod's like, if you're telling me that you really want it, it's
make
gonna
it
take
work.
some time, but if that makes you happy, so I buy the car. Fly home. I'm super excited. My dad is super excited because I said, look, now that he's retired, we're going to make this our car. This is going to be
That's
our
so
car that we're
cool.
going to restore and work together.
wow.
I'm going to fly him out to Texas. We're going to have a father-daughter moment. This is going to be super cool because I've always been into cars. My dad, not necessarily. He's a fireman, so he's kind of a truck guy.
Yeah, we
And
talked
so-
about that. I forgot.
Yeah, so it's
funny.
like trying to get him more into it. And like 2 weeks later, I get a call. And then they're like, hey, and we've been texting each other like, hey, they're going to clean out the car. They're going to clean out the rat stuff and like the cobwebs.
from Texas,
right?
okay.
From Texas. And so I get a call literally like 2 weeks later and they go, hey, this is not the call we want to give you, but we need to be real with you. This restoration is probably going to be over $100,000. And I go, why? And they said because the floors were so bad, they had to completely replace the floors. So I go, well, what do I do? So of course,
That's
I
just
don't know
metal
about
work,
this.
though, right? Isn't the frame okay?
Well,
I'm
see,
getting
that's
ahead.
where
Go
I'm
ahead.
like,
Go
I
ahead.
don't
Go ahead.
know. So I call Rod and I go, Rod, what do I do? And he's like, well, give me a video of the car. So I tell the guys in Texas, give me a video of the car. So they give me a video of the car. And I'm talking to Rod. I'm talking to my friend Chris. And he's like, look, I'm not going to steer you wrong. Richard got a really good deal on his car. It was patinaed. He wants to do kind of like an outlaw car. So for him, it made sense. But for me, I wanted to restore it back to original. And we decided it wasn't the car for me. So lucky enough, because they're really good friends of mine, they literally said, we're going to wire you back your money. We're
Just
going
let
to
you
just
out of
sell
the
it.
deal.
Thank God. So I go, perfect. I'm so sorry. And they're like, no, we're sorry, but we'll find you another one. So my heart was seriously broken.
Everything was right about that one.
Yeah. And literally I ordered the license plate on
Oh,
eBay.
jeez.
Is like literally it says come play in my Porsche and I get it and it actually has a little Smyrna green on it. So I call my mom. I'm like texting Tori Alonzo. I'm like, Tori, look, he's the one that actually told me on eBay you can find these license plates because I love his license plate.
Wow.
And I see Smyrna green. I'm like, I'm telling you that I have to have a Smyrna green car. It's there. I know it sounds crazy. There's a little dot on my license plate that says this is the
Supposed to
car.
be.
This is I was supposed to have this car. So I go to Jade's birthday party, Rod's daughter's birthday party.
Sweet
I'm
16
telling him,
at this point?
almost have tears in my
Oh my
eyes.
gosh.
He's like, I'm so sorry. We're going to find it. And I think it was literally like Monday morning. Some guy texted him on Instagram.
Wow.
And said, I'm walking around in my neighborhood in Santa Cruz, nonetheless. I see this car. It's got a for sale sign. It's a 99-cent for sale sign. He goes, I don't think this guy's posted anywhere. I don't know if you need a car or if it's too restored for you, but if you're interested, let me know.
It's
Rod
almost
goes,
too nice for Rod
This
Emery.
is your car. He goes, this is your car. Smyrna green. It looks super perfect. He's like, Jen, I'm telling you, my gut is telling me. I put it out there in the universe, and here we are.
Yep,
And that's
it.
literally what happened.
That's
and
how
I
it
went to
works.
Run
Love
Sport.
that
I
story.
put a down payment on it. I called him the night that I was there because I got there probably like at 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night.
Santa Cruz, you said?
Santa Cruz,
Yeah.
yep. I dropped my CFO off actually because we were all going up as a group to Monterey for the.
Oh, good
Red
grief.
Sport
You
reunion.
worked it.
Literally
You said
dropped the
September.
team
You worked
off.
it. I forgot
Yep.
about this. That's
I was
right.
like, I'm working it in. I was like, I'll put a down payment on the car. Go back to my team. We had celebrated that night. The PEC management team. I go, you're not gonna believe this. I just put a down payment on $356, and then I have to preface it with, trust me, I don't make that much money. This is a really good deal. I don't think the guy knows what he had. And then literally a week later, I went up with the trailer with my dad and his friend, and we trailered it all the way home because the tires were 12 years old, so I didn't want to take it home. And I had no idea,
wow.
so we took it right to Rod's shop. He helped me restore it, and it's been that way ever since. And every time I see Rod, and all the time I drive that car, I'm just thank you from the bottom of my heart. That car is not leaving my garage. It's gonna stay forever.
That's what do they call it? A dead girl car. That'll be a dead girl car. Nobody will get that until this girl's dead.
Oh, that's morbid.
That's Seinfeld. Seinfeld had that thing. It's a dead guy car.
Yeah, no, I love that car so much.
The
And now I
73
just want
RS is
more.
one of that ones.
Yeah, because once you get into those old cars, it's just they're so much fun.
Changes
And
your whole world.
It does.
And
yeah.
Changed
not
my
hackable.
perspective.
It's
Yeah.
not hackable.
Not
That's
hackable.
true.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No porn on your dash.
So yeah, I
Crazy
love that
pants.
car. I just took it to the 356 Concours a
Nice.
couple weekends ago.
Yes.
I just had so much fun, and just to have that experience to be out there. And granted, we're probably like the youngest ones in our group that have these kind of cars and do those kind of things, but trying to get more people involved in that, or get them to experience that and to really understand what that's like. It's it's a game changer. I get in my Boxster, GTS Boxster, I want to go fast.
Is that your
right?
demo? Or
That's
is that
my
your
daily car.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I get into my 356, I'm going to cruise. I'm going to take my time. And that's just really about slowing down in life, because all the time we're always trying to be fast. We're trying to get there
Yeah.
the fastest, be there the fastest. We've got no time in the world, and you get in a car like that and you have to cruise.
Yes.
So,
This is a great segue to ask you some questions from other people, if that's all right.
okay.
Randy Folds would like to know, what stops more women from being a part of the car culture? That sounds
That's
like a
a
negatively
great
phrased.
question.
I would say what could get women more into car culture. I would phrase that in a more positive manner. But what do you
Yeah.
think there?
It's a great question. It's hard because we are enthusiasts, so for us it just seems natural
Just
to
comes
go.
to you, yeah.
But I think talking to some of the women, especially now that we're working with so many dealers that come and do women's events, a lot of times women feel a little bit intimidated because they don't know enough about cars and
Yeah.
they don't want to have conversations about cars saying, well, how much horsepower and how much turbo lag and, questions about downforce and
Or they just don't want some guy
torque
being like, you
vectoring
dumb
and-
girl.
yeah.
Right?
There was a big move in the 80s, 90s of like car guys that sold cars and women having to deal with them and like
Yeah.
that is so scary.
Service
And,
too,
like,
absolutely.
I remember that stuff. So I bet that carries through with
Does.
women that are like, I want a nice car, but I don't want to get hosed. And how to get around that. You being involved in it, though, I think is such a good face for that stuff.
Yeah, and I just hope that more women get involved because they see you out there with Jay. They see me. There are so many women that are enthusiasts, and I meet them all the time.
Yeah.
We just had a dealer event come through a few weeks ago, and this lady was saying that she got into a turbo and she bought a turbo. Of course, I said, "What do you do for a living?"
Yeah. Right.
And she's a doctor. Awesome. But just talking to her about it, and she just loves her car, and she got into a Panamera, and she goes, "I need that for my kids."
Wow.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And so there's so many females like that, but they don't necessarily want to go to a car show
Right.
because they have so many other things on their list, or maybe they're dealing with their kids, or they don't want to feel like the girl that's just there because they're trying to look for a guy, because we all know that
Sure.
people are judged.
Sure.
But it's just hopefully that more women will get into it in the future because there's definitely a place for us.
Brian Cheney would like to know, what are some ways the Porsche community can spread its reach into younger people? What can we do to create a new and younger generation of Porsche faithful? It's the same question twice, but it's
Yeah.
still a good question.
We need more people to just get involved. The experience centers are a great place for that.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I was telling you when we were at Auto Kennel and kind of this morning before we got into the show. But the PECs bring a younger demographic. We have the simulator lab there. So we're
Yeah,
getting
that's
kids
so
that are
cool.
13 years old,
So
12
fun.
years old, and they're
Because
better
they don't
than
even
us.
have their licenses yet, but they can
Right?
go drive a car. It's
Exactly.
So fun. Yeah.
And you get a different demographic. And, Porsche is really about a lifestyle. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just getting from point A to point B. So the PECs are really good about having that and kind of showing that brand because more people will get into it. And it's all walks of life. I mean, you can take your kids there. You can take your grandfather there. You can take your father there. You can take your sister, your mother. And there's something for everyone, whether it's the food, whether it's the simulator lab, whether it's just a tour at Porsche Motorsport.
Yeah, it's
and
fun.
That's really what the PECs are
It's
for.
very stimulating when you go
Exactly.
there. Even if you
Yeah.
don't do the racetrack, although we highly recommend that you do. I don't even know. I don't even have a car to recommend because the Boxster is fun to go out around the track. Do you know what I mean? And then the Macan is.
Yeah.
But anyway, we highly recommend. But there's something for everybody there. It's like a little amusement park, and it's very, very stimulating.
And you've been
The
to a morning
food is-
shift. You've seen.
We've been to a
You've
bunch,
got
yeah.
dogs, you've got kids, you've got older people, you've got younger people, and it's just really about understanding that Porsche is such a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And it appeals to everybody, and that's the great thing about our brand.
I would like to talk a little bit about morning shift. You started that, and we've got one this week coming up this Saturday.
On Saturday, August 3rd.
How did you come to want to start another Cars and Coffee here in Los Angeles? Because it didn't when we discussed it here
Yeah.
at our bar, almost a year ago.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that sounds great, but you know what I mean? Like, do we need it? How's it going to be different? Blah blah blah. And we did need it, and it is different, and I want to hear more about it from you.
Well, thank you. Well, I love the fact that you guys come, so that's always nice. We love to see the Porsche.
We'll see you Saturday
there.
for sure.
Good. We started that because, again, growing up in SoCal car culture, I've been to most of the car shows, whether
Right.
it's Crystal Cove, whether it's the old Ford area that, got shut down in Irvine. We've kind of done a little bit of everything. And there's always kind of like that idea of it's 6 a.m. and then it becomes 5 a.m., right? It's like it always becomes, I feel like at some point it's going to be 3 a.m. in the morning that you get up and you park your car and you get your lunch out there.
And Jeff Swart and I will be at all of those.
Right?
We're up early.
Avid
We'll be at every
supporters.
single one of
And
those.
so will Rod Emery. 'cause
Yep,
he
and him
gets
too.
up
Yeah,
at
he gets
3.
3:45.
Exactly. So we just wanted something that was, we're going to hold a time that makes sense for younger people,
Yep.
right? And just do something a little bit different. But again, it's about community.
But why is it different? It's not just different because it is at a different location at your place. What makes it different? Because I agree, and I can't put my finger on it.
Well, we're educational too. So when we did the Transaxle Day, we had so many people and
Come out to learn?
big Porsche people that go, what is Transaxle?
Wow.
Right?
Because they're
Or-
used to 911s.
The events are like
Exactly.
living museums almost. You
Yeah,
get to
and we
learn
curate
while
the
you're
cars
doing
too. Like
you
we'll
do.
work with local communities. So if when we get to the 9/11 day that makes sense for your car, I'd love to have your car on display in the gallery, and we would have
Absolutely.
your story, and we'd tell who owns it and what you do, because
I
that's
love
why
that.
the gallery is the way it is. We change it all the time. We have Graham Rahal's 911R. We've
Oh,
obviously we
I
work
love
with
that
Jeff
car.
Swart a lot.
Yep.
We have
Yes,
Jeff's
Auto
car. We've
Kennel's
got-
car was there.
Auto Kennel.
last
We've
month.
got another Kennel car. I saw that 914 that I fell in love with. That I go, can we get it?
Which
So
one? Which
just
one is that? The
curating
one
The one
I
that's
Green
not for sale.
machine.
That's not for sale.
Maggie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
That's
Maggie.
a dead girl car. That's never going to leave there.
They're not.
There-
Yeah.
No way.
No. So we try and do that, and that's what really makes it different, because not only are we educating people about certain things that Porsche has, whether it's the 356 and why that is not just obviously special because it's the first car that Porsche made, but why else it's special, or the 911 and the years of the 911. Last time we did up until the G body, and what is the G body? So we try and educate people on social, educate people while we're there, curate into the gallery, and then just have local people, because like this weekend I just reached out to 2 people for a Saturday show, and you'll probably see they're super excited.
Okay.
But they're like, what an honor it is to have my car in the gallery. And I go, yeah, because that's what we
it's
want.
about.
Because this is the Porsche home on the West Coast for all of us who have been Porsche fans our whole entire lives, or maybe we're just Porsche fans now. We're beginning to become Porsche fans. And
But
to
it's in the
have a
blood
piece
somehow.
of home, like to feel like my car's in the garage at the PEC, that's like my garage, that's a really cool thing. And so I'm just trying to think about it from an enthusiast standpoint, and our team is always trying to curate ways of doing things that are a little bit different. But we realized by bringing in the community, by having community kind of cars or involvement, Nicholas Hunsinger, working with Rod, working with Pat Long, having
Yeah.
Pat's car there, his patina 356.
Oh, I love that
I can't
car.
tell you how many
The only reason
people-
I don't like it there is I love seeing it out on PCH or wherever he drives it.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I said we have to get this patina car in, and we got that car in, and so many people were like, "What's that car?" And they kind of
What's
looked
it
down and they're
doing
like,
here?
"Why is it unfinished?" And we had to tell that story. This is what patina is.
Yeah.
This is what an original car looks like before it gets to, let's say, Rod Emery's
Exactly.
Speedster that's right next to it. That's
And cleaned up and
shiny and
redone.
brilliant and
Yeah.
Right.
amazing.
These are all
And
choices.
These are your choices. You can be kind of the outlaw look, or you could be this look, or you could be that look. And again, working with an OEM brand and working on that side, we don't necessarily have the aftermarket stuff because we feel like everything is German and it's Porsche perfection. But you still can do things where you have parts of your personality show through, like the fact that you guys chose that yellow car,
Yeah.
right? So it's
And
like
you
things like
chose
that
the yellow shoes to go with it.
I
Well
did.
done. Look at that. Bravo. Speed yellow high heels.
I do. I like to match my cars. Although I'm not wearing a yellow car, or I don't have a yellow car today, but this is for you. So
Thanks. So you match.
All right, let's see. Let's get to another one here. You just mentioned Nicholas Hunziker. He has a question. When will the year-long Hunziker art retrospective start at PEC LA?
I love that.
And that's hashtag asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend, yes. I love it.
If
we
you have a
have-
real answer for that or a fake one, go
I
ahead.
do.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, we're always working with local people, and it's about bringing the community. It's supposed to be your second home.
Yeah.
We want to do things like that. We're actually talking to Nick about a few different things, which we're really hoping to make sense of and try and put that through and
Well,
make
we'll
it
need
something
his
a
help for that
reality.
other thing that we were talking about as well. So I think
Yeah.
it's going to be calling all cars all over the place.
Yeah, we you never know. We did an art show last year, and we did it for 917, and we had a local artist come in, and I told Jeff and Nicholas, I said, full disclosure, we want to test this first.
Before we get
So-
you guys.
Because I want to make sure that it makes sense for them. And we had a really great artist. It's actually one of the artists that's local, that's in Manhattan Beach, and he does amazing work. But we said he's a friend of, well, obviously Nick and Jeff, and they're all friends of me. But I didn't want to put that online and say, hey, I have to sell this many tickets, because I also have to make this make sense for us from a Porsche standpoint.
Sure.
So we did an art show, and he sold a lot of paintings that night, but we curated a menu in our restaurant that made sense for what he was selling. So if we were doing that with Nick, or we were going to do it with Jeff, or maybe it's look pictures and images and video from that, and we do a look night, we would want to do something where it kind of ties the PEC together. So we've got a lot of big dreams and a lot of big things that we want to make castles in the sky and try and figure how to bring them down. But that's always about trying to figure out when it makes sense and the timing. But
Castles in the
that will probably happen.
clouds. Castles in the clouds. I think that will, because I think his friend would be very disappointed if it didn't happen.
I think his friend would be too.
Kevin Lynch would like to know, aside from your stunning 356, what's your favorite Porsche model and why?
That's-
Great question.
You cannot ask an enthusiast that.
I know, because there's not one, right?
There's not one.
It's like, what's your favorite
It's
movie?
like, exactly. That's so tough. People ask me that a lot when we're walking in the gallery. And one of my favorite cars still is the 356, which is why I owned it. It's my favorite car. But in terms of an everyday car, and I know people will think I'm crazy, I could drive a 918 every day of my life.
Oh my
and be
goodness
super happy.
gracious!
All right,
Yeah.
novice.
That's the supercar, right? That's
Yeah.
the hybrid supercar. I'm not.
It is.
I'm not having a little episode or
No.
something.
I could
No
drive that car
way.
every day.
I mean, it's a
That car
it is easy
so
to
easy
drive.
to drive.
Yeah.
It is so easy to
Um,
drive. My mom could drive it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have blind spots like other cars that are supercars.
No, the pedals
Okay.
are light. Everything about it's light and easy. You're right.
It is so Porsche perfection. And granted, if you're going to drive a car like that, you don't need a trunk. It's totally fine. You have you have a support car behind you.
That is not the answer I expected. Not the answer I expected.
Car. The GT2 RS is amazing. It's a beast though. But if I was going to do an everyday driver, if I could afford a 918 or a Turbo S, I love the Turbo. I think the visceral feel of a
Man,
Turbo.
that power. You want that power.
I love that.
Holy crow.
And I like sport exhaust. Put that on. Make
Good
it
grief.
happen.
Grew up in LA. Holy crap.
You can
Make some
tell
noise.
I'm a California girl. I want it loud. I want people to know that I'm on the road. It's a safety feature, really.
Loud and proud. That's
so
right.
people will know when
Prius,
you
get the hell out of my way.
move to the side. Yeah.
This is a weird time to ask this question, but it's on here and I forgot. What was your childhood like when you were here out there being a car fan? But what were you like as a kid? You know what I mean?
was I
What was G.I. Jen like when she was G.I. Jen playing with all the guys?
I was just a huge.
I mean, were you a good student? Were you? Oh, I mean, you, the person who sits before me with your career and everything would lead me to believe that she was a great student, straight A's, did all the things, and did the AP courses, and went to college. But some of the stuff you were doing were during the college years. So I mean, I'm trying to figure out, who you were back then.
I was a good student.
Yeah.
I was always hanging out with older people.
That
and I
helps.
realized very early on that if I surrounded myself with everyone that was better than me, I would naturally get brought up.
You figured that out on your own?
Very early
That's
on.
incredibly impressive to me.
Yeah,
That's
I hung out
incredibly
with all
impressive
of
to
my
me.
friends' moms. People would think, like, when the girls were doing girl things, I would hang out with the moms and be like, what are you doing? Like, what do you like about your career? And they're like, why is she like that? I'm just a very old soul.
Yeah.
And I honestly, that's why I think we all connect, because I
Yeah.
was always like that. But I have always just hung out with much older friends, and I always felt very valued to be able to hang out with people, and I wouldn't be, while everyone was partying or drinking or doing whatever they were doing, I was sitting there writing my map out of like what I
Something
wanted
else,
to
yeah.
do. And,
Good for
people
you.
that I used to do car rallies. I don't know if we touched on that, but I
Not
used to do
today,
the
but
Bull
we
Run
have. Well,
Rally,
is that how
Gumball
you know
Rally.
Richard Rawlings?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So I have 8 cross-country road medals, and I wanted to go for 10, but it's just totally not going to happen these days because they're so changed. But I would literally hang out with this small core group of people, the Matt Farahs of the world, back when he was a very sweet Jewish boy. He still is, but you don't see all that on camera. Yeah, he's so awesome, by the way. JF Musial, who does Tangent Vector. Vinny Russo, who went on to Spiker, then Lamborghini. Now he's at VF Engineering. Junis Khan, he's one of my best friends. He's amazing. He owns Carbotex. He was creating a cell phone cover, and now he owns Carbotex. So all
This
these
is
guys.
amazing. It's like you're speaking a different language to me. It's incredible.
But we
I don't
were like
understand a word
hanging
of
out,
it.
and like Matt would, some of them would like, hey, we're gonna go out and have a good night, whatever. But we would always be talking. It was like the small group of us, and it's fun because not one of us has not done something significant. I feel like I've made it working with Porsche and doing kind of my dream. And you look at somebody like, Vinny, who's done something really amazing, and JF with Tangent Vector, he's working for Porsche. So now we actually get to work with each other in certain regards.
That's awesome.
Matt with the smoking tire, and you see somebody that I've known since 2001, 2002, and kind
Matt.
of how his career has evolved. And it's just really cool because you see, we were so young back then, and we were already saying like, hey, we are not going to do this tonight. We're going to, what do you want to do? Or where do you want to be in 10 years? And we would have these conversations, and then you see how everything kind of plays out, and it's just really cool.
Did you ever do I don't even know if they run this anymore, but you're the person to ask, obviously. You remember the Cannonball Run? The old Cannonball Run, the original?
That's what Bull Run was modeled after.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, is that true? And then what happened to the original Cannonball Run? Just no more?
It's,
Because they used to start that from the town I lived in.
Did they really?
In Connecticut, yeah.
Oh, wow.
The night before, all the cars were up on ramps and everything at Good Wives. No joke, this is the name, it's still to this day, of this shopping center in Darien, Connecticut. Good Wives Shopping Center.
Oh
It's
my
literally
gosh,
from the
that's
Stepford
so
Wives
cool.
movie. If you watch the
Yeah.
original Stepford Wives movie,
Yeah.
it's the same place, and you can see the name of it.
That is
Good
so
Wives
funny.
Shopping Center. And there used to be a restaurant called Lock, Stock, and Barrel, and that was the place. And it's even called Lock, Stock, and Barrel when you watch the movie, even though it wasn't shot there and everything. I have these memories of being a kid and not knowing what car was what, but like
Yeah.
there were numbers on the. It's why our car looks like it does today.
Oh, wow.
Because I have that still in me from when
Yeah.
I was a kid, seeing that with my dad. Did you have anything like that, or was it just, oh, you just had the modern day, this is sick cool, and then there was Alex Ross who did the
Alex Roy.
38 days and
And then
whatever.
Richard Beeham
38.
too.
Oh, he
In
did? He beat that?
2000 It was 2000.
There was a whole movie about the fastest to get, to get across
Yep.
the country, and then Alex Ross, did I say that right?
Alex Roy.
Alex Roy
Yep.
did it in the movie, which is called 38 Hours and 7 Minutes or something
Yep.
like that. I have it
And
wrong.
JF actually did the mapping, the planned route for that, and helped him because.
So is
they
he
had
the
to
other
have-
guy in it then?
He's
that
not
helps
the guy
him with
in
the plane and all that
yes,
stuff?
He is.
You're
yeah.
kidding.
No, yeah.
Oh, I gotta
and
watch
JF
that
was
again.
like 24, 25 at the time.
That young.
I wanted to watch that so
Yeah.
bad because I had a conversation with Alex Roy, and I'll get his
Uh-huh.
name right, at a bar in Venice 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. You said like 2001, 2002. That's about what it would have been. We were having margaritas at Baja Cantina, getting
Oh,
drunk as a
wow.
skunk with my old roommate, Lori. and that's how, of course, she was pretty, so that's how we started
Yeah.
talking. And then the car thing, and he had the M5 at the time. So it must have been
Yeah.
mid-2000s or something like that, whenever that was going on. But we had this conversation, and I was like, wait a second, but when I was a kid, that was the thing, and the movie and the whole thing. You actually did a bunch of those.
I did. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
know this was a by the way for you, and I want to spend more time here. But what? Just tell me any experience from the rally, like a cross country rally, that you want to share. I've never had that. I don't know that I'll ever be able to. But
I
it was
know.
something that I always wanted to do when I was a kid because I had seen it.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about with the rallies, and probably not enough time for today.
Okay.
But the one that I did, so the first one I did was in 2006, and it was actually when we were launching the Victoria's Secret Pink line. So we shut down
What?
Chelsea Pier. I flew to New York. I actually helped do the launch. We had Ashley Simpson perform at the time. That we did like Girls in Pink, the whole nine. Went shopping, like gave
What
a
year
bunch
is
of
that?
like
This is-
sweatpants out. 2006. My friend was like, "Hey." He bought a Lamborghini Gallardo, and he's the one that got me on board with Victoria's Secret, and he goes, I want to take my wife on this rally, and she's really not wanting to go with me and co-pilot in the Lamborghini. If I buy you a car with her, will you go on the rally?
Whoa.
I'm like, you're gonna buy her a car
Just for this.
just for this? And
Yeah.
he goes, well, I need a support vehicle.
Hello.
So he
Oh
literally
my
bought a car
goodness.
an AAL.
Oh my
So-
God.
Oh yeah, I flew to New York.
Luxury.
Yep, flew to New York, did the whole thing on Chelsea Pier with him. Super success.
executive
Had the
Audi.
Victoria's Secret models there. It went off without a hitch. Literally a day later or 2 days later, we were at the start of New York in Times Square, shut it down. We had Corey Haim, Corey Feldman. We had the owner of Spiker Cars there. It was just amazing just to see the crowds and all the people there. And we started, and it was funny because we had 1 weekend to get our car prepped. We had tint on the windows that was so fresh I couldn't even roll down the window for a route card. And that was the start of it. And then that was pretty
When you
much it.
leave.
It was like, I was sold. I'm like, every year. Because you had Klaus Edensberger of CEC Wheels. You had all these kind of big people in aftermarket at the time.
Is that
in
Pirelli?
OEM.
That's not Pirelli.
He's now Pirelli
P0 World.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know him. Sure, Klaus.
Yeah. So like you would network with all these great people, and it was back then it was about giving them a week to just go out and have fun, talk with car guys, but not, they would network, they would do some work, they would
Sounds
close some
pretty awesome.
deals. That
Sounds
was the way
pretty
it was
great.
back in the day, and that's how I was able to get a lot of work, because I would say, okay, what company was this or what company was that, and when I was in an ad agency, I actually brought them in and started doing their marketing and PR for the
You
Bull
were
Run
able to-
Rally.
to
Oh yeah,
cross
linked
and
it in,
into-
brought
yeah.
Recaro in, did a SEMA build on a car, brought that car, drove a Lincoln MKX. I worked for Lotus. I was a spokesmodel for Lotus.
Gee whiz.
Drove from Montreal, Canada to Key West. So like
for you.
I was so hooked, and I thought I'm going to do 10 medals, and like that's it. And I got to 8, and then it was, by that time it was like it totally changed the scene, because now when you look at car rallies, it's not the way that it used to be, where it was
It couldn't
networking
be, right?
or it was, you were racing from point A to point B. Now it's more of like just it's more of the party factor, and that
So-
brings a
social
different
run now.
crowd. Yeah, and so because I'm not really one to like go out and party and things like that, I'm like, hey, I would love to be able to network or do some kind of business deal or work on it or just really enjoy the drive. At the end of the day, I love driving. If I have a bad day, I go out and I just drive. And that was
That's what
really
you
what
do?
the Bull Run. I do that all the time.
Do you get in the 356 sometimes, or do you take
It
the?
depends on if I need to go fast or slow.
Really? No kidding. Good
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Where do you go drive when you need to cut loose a little bit?
So I lived at the base of Glendora Mountain Ridge Road in Claremont. So I learned.
Are
and
you
taught
shitting me?
myself
That's
how
where
to
you
do-
grew up?
Yeah.
On one of the
so
best driving roads in the world,
it
really.
is. So when I bought my Prelude, it was a manual. My first car was a stick shift.
They
and
only
my
made that
dad-
top one in the manual.
right?
That SI only came in a stick.
My dad tried to teach me, and I'm like, get out of the car. I just have to listen to myself. I got to hear the car. I got to figure it out. And I
Good
went
for
out to
you. I
all these
should have done that
switchbacks.
too.
That's honestly what you need. Sometimes you just have to hear the
Stop
car, feel
listening
the
to
car.
everybody else. Yeah.
So I did that.
That's
and
a
then
good tool. It's a good lesson.
I
I
tell
hope you
people
say
that
that
all the time.
You get over
Yeah.
your fears that way too. Let alone you learn.
Yeah.
Because you're worried about disappointing somebody, or they're they're in the car and they're like moving a lot, and they're like, oh, you just stalled it again.
Getting your pilot's license.
Yeah.
When you solo, it's the exact same thing. It's so much
Yeah.
easier once you get over the fear. Once the guy's out of the thing, you're like, nobody's watching me. I'm doing it well. I'm already doing it right.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we so worried about all the time?
Yeah.
What's
So.
coming up with you in the PEC? We have morning shift this Saturday.
Yep.
What's the theme this month?
The theme this month is we are doing all convertibles, cabriolets, spiders, targas, anything that has a topless top where you can pull the top down, enjoy the summer month.
It's Topless
And we're-
Saturday.
Yep.
Spring break.
Yeah. Yep.
What and then what's coming up next? I mean, can we talk about the future ones so
Yeah,
people
we
can maybe
usually
future
launch
plan a little bit?
on usually about the 15th of every month we will talk, but you can hear it first here.
Oh, about what the next one is? We got an
yeah.
exclusive. Hang
Hey,
on, everybody.
exclusive.
Right here to your camera 4. Go ahead.
Da-da-da.
Drum roll, please.
356 day.
Oh,
Doing
cool.
another one.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now-
And we've
in
been wanting to do
September?
that for a while. Yeah, it'll be September, so I think it's September 6th.
That's my birthday.
Happy
Yay!
birthday, Jay Ryan.
Happy early birthday. It'll be a good one. We've got some really special stuff
Can
in
I
the
drive
works.
your car around the track for it?
Oh my gosh.
That's a good birthday present. I'll set
Yeah.
that up with you later.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be a good one. We've got obviously having the 356 concourse to go there and see some. There was 3 Continentals that were parked
That's
right next
cool.
to each other, and of course I'm like, here's my business card. Can I get you in the gallery? Oh yeah.
Was that
Oh,
Max
yeah.
Was it Max Hoffman on that one who came up with that?
Yep.
Cars need a name, so they gave the
They
name
wanted a
Continental.
U.S. name that would sound better.
Yeah.
And
Then just
then
a
that, of
number,
course,
a
didn't work too
356.
well.
It's nothing. So they made a Continental badge for the side.
Oh.
Beautiful Porsche Continental.
Yeah, it was fancy, and they're really beautiful. They've got some nice bells and whistles.
They
on
are
them.
cool though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So we're gonna try and get some of those there. Of course, we're working with ROD EMORY, so he'll have some
The best.
356s. Jeff
Friend
Stewart,
and neighbor,
Pat
Rod
Long.
Emery.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course those guys.
Yeah,
Royalty.
got to get the legends of
They're like,
Porsche.
doesn't
They
it
are.
feel a little bit like royalty?
It
Like in
does,
our
yeah.
little world,
Yeah.
those guys, by all means, untouchable.
Well, they're also just really down to earth, amazing people all around. Their wives are amazing. Their families are amazing. They've done it right. They've checked all the boxes of like the American dream. So
We were
if
at
I can have a
breakfast.
piece of that.
We were at Breakfast Club last week having a conversation about the kids, about how both incredibly intelligent and successful both of the kids are.
Oh, for rods?
Yeah.
Zane and
And Jade. And it's just one of those where we're like, somebody was like, wow, that's really amazing. They're so lucky. They got the whole family. I'm like, it's Rod's programming. It's Rod and Amy. It's the
Yeah.
they're the same. Of course it's going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
You just have to look at it. It's the DNA,
And honestly,
the work ethic, everything.
behind every good man is an amazing woman. And if you know Amy too, she's just amazing.
phenomenal.
She,
Wonderful
we
spirit.
probably give her more credit than most, but she does not get enough credit. She is amazing.
I
She
say that
just-
too. I see that with her out. I love
Yeah.
that it's so permeating that world because that's important.
And Jeff Swartz's daughter too, Bailey. She has her own jewelry line.
Really?
She's super successful and creative. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
That's amazing.
So again, it's like you know, that's the full package. That's pretty awesome. So we love having them. And, Pat, obviously having the little one, I'm sure little Leighton is going to be just fine. He'll probably be a race car driver, in another couple of years. He'll be doing go-karts. I'm sure he'll get in that
Yeah.
little.
It's got to be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what else?
Exactly.
I love that. Do you have anything for us?
Anything for you?
I'm asking this because you literally have something for us. Do you want to do it now?
Oh, yeah. Can I? I totally forgot. It's down by my feet. So I brought you a little something.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
I get to look at your shoes again when you lean down.
Beautiful. What do we have here? Mrs. Ryan, you want to?
Yeah, I'll dig in.
There's a couple things in here. That's the heavy one.
Of course, I picked it.
And I'll get this here.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Oh my goodness.
You're
I
right.
didn't
Whoa,
see-
look at this.
I didn't see that you had a calendar on your show. So this actually stands up, and then you can move the magnet around. It's so Porsche-like, right?
This is
You can move it
amazing.
around, and you can put it to the date.
But I love that it's just like an old tin
I know.
garage
That's why I
sign.
thought it was kind of fun for you.
I love it. It'll go in the set someplace. And there you go. A beautiful Porsche mug.
I felt like you needed something official.
Thank
so
you,
It's
Porsche.
official.
One of y'all have to have a Porsche mug. Yeah.
I love it.
I
Thank
love
you
it.
very
You
much.
always have these mugs. I'm like, I don't know if you like dark mugs, but
Oh, yeah.
Felt like you needed to have the official. Even if you
Eventually-
put your pens in it or something.
I was going to say, eventually, these will be It's Tonight's Show mugs with from Hunziker.
Fun.
And then right now, the only
I know.
calendar we're using is the Dave Watch.
I know. Well, you have to do it with the X, so I totally get it. But you can have a nice calendar there.
That is so cool.
You know, not for nothing, but you mentioned Graham Rahal. Graham Rahal's dad, Bobby Rahal, happens
Yeah.
to be partners with Mr. David Letterman. I'm not saying you should make a call. I'm just saying it
Oh.
happens to be that you have
See,
a connection there
manifesting.
somehow.
Manifesting, yeah.
We got to say it out loud, and then something maybe
It will
happen.
happen.
You never know, right?
That is so true. Yep. See? You say it long enough when I kept saying, I'm going to have a 356 someday.
That's how
I
it
didn't think
works.
it was going to be so soon, but yeah.
How do you feel about this? Do you feel good about this experience? Did we cover the things you wanted to cover? Did we miss anything? How are we? Let's do a check-in.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. Do we need to talk more about the PC?
No, it's fantastic. No. Do you want to? I wanted to make sure that you were feeling good.
I'm feeling
Do you feel that you represented the company well and you did well here? Well, then we should talk about the PEC perhaps a little bit more.
You're like, so you just talked about yourself all the time.
All right. Well, we got
just
what to
kidding, I'm just
expect.
kidding.
We got what to expect. There's some things that we talked about that you can't say here, obviously,
know,
because
I
they're
know.
going to be really great surprises for people later on.
Yeah.
So that's not happening today. But, oh, you know what? I would like to mention, we put you on the spot here. We talked when we were at Auto Kennel about doing this show at the PEC, perhaps
Yeah.
maybe anniversary week or something like that.
Yeah. We can talk about that.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
What do we want to do? You want to sit? Do you want me to just call you out on it on camera? Can I do
Sure.
that?
Sure. What is it?
Yeah.
What are you going to call me out on?
Well, I'm gonna say like, can we get you there?
Sure.
Can I do that?
You're doing it right now.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I'm not on camera, am I?
Yes.
We all are. You know we're recording this, right?
I thought you were like, hey, stop the camera for a second.
Why would I do that? When
We
is
don't
yes,
do
when does
that.
that happen?
I thought you were like, hold on, stop the camera. Are you good with this?
That is
Are we
not
good?
how the show goes.
This is the best one ever. Oh my god.
I loved it, like when you do like you're like, hey, like
I'm a sweet
Are we
guy. This is
good?
how I talk to people. I connect with people. We have conversations.
Listen, you're a brand person. It's about the experience always.
I love it.
She's like, you want me to call you out? I was like, didn't you just do that?
Did you just do that? Okay.
This is a riot. All right. Well, we're talking about figuring out a way to do this show at PEC, maybe anniversary week.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. and
That
I
would be really
love
fun for
to
us.
Have you guys. I know there's gonna be an outtake segment, and I'm gonna be
The greatest. This is the greatest.
And I love her laugh. It's so contagious. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
No, well, I really, really, really would love to have you. I could see like where you have the desk and you have the chairs, and maybe we can build a set and we can actually have you at the
We
PEC.
talked about that. I see no reason that we wouldn't bring the original home base here and then just
It would be so
come up
fun.
with a little set. We talked about
Yeah.
enlisting the help of Mr. Nicholas Hunziker.
Yep.
I think we could
Yeah.
probably make something happen.
We did. Spike Furstein was over at the PEC for our 70-year anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
and he did his podcast there, and he interviewed Jeff Swart and Daniel M. Brewster, our
Awesome.
PMNA, our Porsche Motorsport CEO.
How did
so
it go?
It went really good, but we started in a conference room, and then he said, "We want more energy. Like I want to be in the middle of everything." I go, "Where do you want to go?" So we literally did it in Speedster Cafe in front of everyone.
Oh, that's nice.
So he had
Cool.
everyone with headphones on, and they just did it right there, and people were walking around going, "Wait, is that so-and-so? Is that
Yeah, are they doing this right here? Is this actually
right
happening?
there? Is that really happening?" So
love that.
I could see where if we build the stage up for you, and we actually have you in the gallery, or we put you in the cafe.
I was
that'd be
talking with
super
Hunziker
cool.
about this. We could do it Top Gear style. We could do a thing just in the middle with
Yeah.
just something around, and then the people are just all around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something might be fun like
That's
that.
gonna
Like
be
the
Some
original
so
really
Top
good
Gear way
guests
back in
on
the day.
too. Yeah.
I think so too.
All
I'm
right, so, we're
excited
gonna,
that you're.
so this is going to happen, and we're going to put it together.
glad
We'll
you're
figure
setting
out.
it up. That's
Yeah,
good.
it's our
We'll figure it
3rd-year
out.
anniversary. It's going to be really good. We're trying to figure out how to do things different. We don't like to do things that are always cookie cutter, where it's like the same thing every time. Everyone likes to drive their own cars on our track. It's the one time a year that you can drive your car on our track. We do the parade laps. So last year we did 250 cars, and we thought that was just a little bit too much.
That's a lot.
So,
That's a lot.
Yeah, we did 125 the first year, and we thought that's we could do a
125
little
in
bit
Nuremberg
more,
would be a lot.
right?
125 is a lot.
It is, yeah, and we have
20
a
is
big
good.
DNF handling track, but to see all those cars kind of going through and the drone shots we got, the footage we got was incredible. And I mean, like last year when I got to take my 356 out because I just had it.
Yeah.
And it was
It was
so
in the front
fun.
of the
My
line. It
parents
was
actually
great.
drove the second lap. Like I literally went around, gave it to them, and my dad drove it with my mom. It was super cool. I got some really
That's
good
cool.
pictures of them.
I was
But
gonna say,
Jeff
I'm
took his
pretty
906 with Terry in it, and
I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of yours
Oh, yeah.
and then like maybe Jeff Sharon's R behind it or something,
Yep.
which used to be your R from the
Yep.
PEC.
yeah, we had a
Such
cool
great
lineup.
photos.
It was so cool. So we'll do that this year.
Cool.
We're celebrating just 3 years of opening. We've had over 150,000 people through our doors since we opened.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Our restaurant's doing very successful. It's a standalone. We're so close to a 4.9, but we would love to get. So I'm going to put this out there since you
All
want
right,
Dave to come.
let's do it.
We want a Michelin star. We are trying so hard to get a Michelin star. We love just one Michelin star. We know that the importance of that, and the team has worked so hard. We've even changed some of our operations around it because we really, really, really
You're going for it.
we are going for
Good
it.
for you.
We're not just the Porsche company that's like, hey, we're working with Michelin. It's a totally different entity. It's not just Michelin tires and Michelin star for ratings and restaurants. It's a different area,
Yeah.
different segment. It's like Porsche Design and Porsche, but we really are trying to get targeted to
Good for
be
you.
a Michelin
I think
star.
that'll make a difference.
It will.
Sort of
yeah.
like a on the map kind of a thing. Like you already are
Exactly.
for this, but
Yeah.
that would not hurt.
In what better way, right? To tie that together. would
It's
be
a good
really
way to
neat.
tie it together. Like
There's no
top
bigger
tier,
accolade.
Top tier, top
There's no
tier.
bigger accolade for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we do that, I want the big blow up Bibendum in our gallery. I think that would be amazing. I would hug him every day. He's so cute. We could put him right next to the car and say, "We are Michelin star." We'll put like a little.
Are you guys in the
like a
Zagat
trophy
guide?
around him, or like a wreath around him, like he won Le Mans? And we'll say like, "Yes, we got it."
Are you guys on the Zagat guide? Does that qualify because it's a standalone restaurant? You know
That's a
what I mean?
great
I
question.
wonder what the reviews are because
Yeah.
we know that certainly the people that we know who go to love it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know about the Zagat guide, but we are
You
rated
know, it's not
open.
necessarily your market. I'm just curious.
No, I mean everything.
I'm available to consult. I have some ideas for you.
There you go.
Nice.
It's
talk.
yeah. Okay, good.
All right.
Good.
I think I do feel like we got to everything. I feel
Yeah.
pretty good. You good?
I definitely
did
I
good.
love
All
coming
right.
on the show. I can't wait to have you guys on the show on
At your
the EC
place.
side. I think that would be really
Awesome.
cool.
Same
It's gonna
here.
be so much fun.
How do people stay in touch with you?
Uh-oh.
Instagram?
Yes.
Do you
G.I.
wanna-
Jen.
G.I. Jen? On
G.I.
Instagram?
Jen for me, and then of course our PEC LA hashtag.
There you go.
And we also have Restaurant 917. So we have
Definite.
2 different Instagram handles for the restaurant and the PEC.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very
We'll
smart.
post that for sure.
So
Got
funny.
that. Let's see. What else, Mrs. Ryan? Anything else? Jennifer Nicole, this has been a pleasure. I hope that you've
It's been
enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yeah,
So
I love
much
seeing
fun.
you. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's a
It's
pleasure.
good to hang out with you both.
It's an
and thank you
absolute
for
pleasure.
supporting the PEC. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to see you, see your car, see your
You
friends.
guys support us. We support
Yeah.
anybody who supports us. Plus,
that's
you're
good.
doing awesome shit. I mean,
thank
that's
you.
how it is.
That's the crux. You're doing awesome shit.
yeah.
So you wouldn't support me if we didn't. Okay.
Well,
nice to know. I'm
you-
just kidding.
Most people wouldn't support you if you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You,
That's a heavy burden on me. I feel
No,
the
no, no,
weight.
no. You carry a lot of weight. You're not holding it. You just
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm just giving
Now
you
you're
a
looking for
hard
praise. Mrs. Ryan, who do we have tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Friday.
Oh my gosh, it's Breakfast Club already.
yay.
In that case, tomorrow's Breakfast Club. See you up there. Newcomb's Ranch, 9 o'clock in the morning is when they open. We get there around then, shortly thereafter, usually till about noon. Usually there's stuff going on till about noon. It's a lot of fun. You're going to come at some point, right?
I know, yes.
One
I
of
would
these
love to
days?
come. Yeah.
No work
Maybe
Porsche
take
into
some
your
one of
Porsche work.
the
Great.
PEC managers out and do that for some networking and to see
Honestly,
you guys would
you
be nice.
probably don't know this, but a lot of the shops do that. A lot of the dealerships do. They'll
Yeah.
they'll pick a day where like 5 people come up, or
Oh,
all of the
cool.
independent
Okay.
shops do. You know what I mean? Like one day Marco and Steve will come up from
Yeah.
TLG, or other people. It's fun. House
good.
Automotive comes up.
People meet. Like there's a Venice meetup and a Orange County group.
Yeah, those
like,
guys
it's-
meet up at Deus and drive up.
It's
fun.
it's become a
cool.
really cool part of the community. So
Okay.
I hope you do come. sometime.
Yeah, well, I'd just love to come. It'd be nice.
So that's tons of fun. That's going on tomorrow. And then next week, we've got a bunch of people and Pete Stout. I know that. Pete Stout will be
Oh,
here next week
good.
from
That's
Triple O
exciting.
Magazine.
Yeah.
000 Magazine, I should say, correct?
000.
Yes, say that properly. And that's it. We love everybody. Mrs. Ryan, I love you so very much. Jennifer Nicole, G.I. Jen, we love you so very much.
We love
Thank you
too.
for being
I
here.
have a girl crush on you too.
We love everybody at home. Thank you very much for watching. Please love one another, and we will see you next week.
Love it.
That was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Oh wait, you need.
Don't move.
Don't move. Don't move. I'll stay right here.